Hey guys, so today we're just going to be talking about your handstand walks, okay, trying to break them down a little bit to make it a little bit easier for you to get the hang of, okay. Obviously I know they're one of those movements which can be quite frustrating. You know, one day you can be quite comfortable taking some good steps on your hands and the other day you might struggle to take any at all, right? Obviously that's inevitable when you're trying to get to grips with the movement. There's always going to be good days and bad days as your body kind of makes these things more automatic, okay, and you have to think a little bit less. But that just takes time. You know, it's like learning when you see a child learning to walk on their feet. You know, sometimes they can take a few steps, other times they fall straight back down. But it's obviously, you know, getting up, carrying on, having another go, what makes the difference, okay? But having said that, obviously the more you understand the movement, the more you can kind of filter out the bits that you need to focus on from the bits that don't matter quite so much, okay? So before we kind of move on with this video, if you haven't seen the videos on shoulder and thigh taps or the lateral walks and step ups, then it's well worth checking those out because there's some key principles in there which when it comes to your handstand walks really do transfer over, and it'll help you have more of an understanding of the positioning that you want to be in, okay? So obviously when you do your handstand walk, first thing is the kick up, okay? And especially when you're trying to get used to it, it's the kick up that can start to cause a few problems because you need to get a feel for how hard you need to kick to be able to give yourself enough forward momentum, okay? And it's more of a confidence thing than anything else because you generally have to kick a little bit harder than you feel like you might need to be able to generate enough momentum to carry you forwards, okay? So if you've had a go at some handstand walks already, you might have felt at least a few times is that you're trying to kick up, okay? But then your legs just fall straight back down before you can start to move your hands, okay? If that's happening and you end up in that kind of body position, so your hands are down here, your feet are up here or maybe up to here, okay? You've not got, all your body weight or your center of mass is behind you, so naturally you're just going to fall straight back down to the floor, okay? So first thing you need to get comfortable with is being more aggressive as you kick up, all right? Best way to practice this, if you can get someone to give you a spot to catch your feet in case you kick up too hard, have a crash mat behind you, or just get comfortable that if you do kick up too hard, you can quickly cartwheel out of it and stop yourself falling flat on your back, all right? It'll just make it a little bit easier for you than completely bailing, okay? Once you got comfortable with that kick up, okay, so when you do kick up, you want to imagine if this is completely straight, obviously, you know, that will be perfect, but that's realistically going to be quite difficult. You want your feet to be slightly in front of your hands, okay? So that it means that your center of mass is slightly in front of you, which is going to almost kind of pull you forwards for as long as you can maintain that position, all right? Because you're going to have to start to move your hands to stop yourself from completely falling over, okay? And that's the most efficient and kind of least taxing way to be able to do your handstand walks because you're just letting momentum do its job, okay? And all you need to do is focus on keeping up with the momentum by moving your hands, okay? So it makes it a much less taxing, all right? So that's what you want to aim for when you're kicking up, all right? And the key thing is to be patient. Let your feet get to that point where they're just in front of your hands before you try and walk, okay? Your feet might be well on their way to getting there, but if you try and walk too soon, then it's going to move your hands further forward and then you're going to end up falling back to the ground, okay? So always be patient. Wait until you feel like you're just about to fall before you start to walk, and then you're going to make the most of that momentum, okay? Obviously throughout, the more control you can keep over your core and lower body, the more control you're going to have over your speed, okay? So I'm sure you've probably seen videos of people almost like in a full like scorpion, okay? So feet right over, all right? Obviously the downside of that is you're putting a lot of pressure on your lower back, which isn't ideal, all right? You also don't have that much control over your speed because there's so much weight forward over your hands that you just have to keep moving. And if you need to slow down, or if say when we start looking at obstacles and things like that, you need to have that bit more control over the movement, and it's going to make it a little bit harder for you, okay? So you want your feet and legs to be ideally straight, core down, okay? So you're not overarching your lower back, but with your heels just in front of your hands, that's the best position to be in, okay? And as you start to walk, just like what we've been talking about on the shoulder and thigh tap video and the lateral wall walk video, okay? A lot of it is about that control through your hips and shifting side to side, okay? So that when you're there, upside down, if you want to take a step forward with your right hand, you're going to shift your weight over to your left side so that you can reach forward, okay? And then you'll shift your weight over to the right so you can reach forward with your left. And it's just that continual cyclical pattern, okay, which is going to help you keep moving forwards, okay? Then obviously with your lower body, all right, you're going to use that as a little bit of a brake and accelerator, okay? So if you feel like you want to go faster, because you're in a position where you can maintain that control, all you need to do is just kind of squeeze your glutes a little bit more, all right? That's going to bring your feet slightly further forward, give you a little bit more momentum, and it's going to help you speed up, okay? To the opposite effect, if you want to go a little bit slower or you feel like your feet have gone too far, then you want to focus on draw your ribs down again, okay? Squeeze your quads. That's going to help just pull you back a little bit more towards the center, and that's going to help slow you down, okay? So there's quite a few things going on. Obviously, the goal with all these progressions is to make each thing become a little bit more automatic. So you've got one less thing to think about, so that ultimately, you know, the only thing you really need to think about when you're doing it is how fast you're going and how far you're going, okay? I hope that's helpful, guys. If you've got any questions at all, feel free to give me a shout.